Don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video.
Welcome and thrice welcome to Steampunk Tuesday. I'm Ian and Mike is in Tesco's doing the shopping. Today I'm not going to film in the studio, I'm going to film downstairs in the kitchen because there is a lovely breeze blowing through and it is very warm. Today's project is a little bit different. It is a steampunk bag. I made a limited edition a while ago of these bags and they flew out, but there is only 3 of these. I'm only making 3. They are superb. Without more ado, I'll show you what I need and let's get cracking. Welcome to today's build. I'm on my own today. Mike has gone out. So you're watching this in glorious kitchen tableau vision. I think it's a new thing. Okay, let's just show you what we've got. We've got the red leatherette. We have some mount board, a remote controlled light. Just turn it off, I don't need to see it first. Some MDF which I've had cut and I'll explain all about that in a minute. A template and a bag. This is a solid box bag. It's got the red leather handle, opens up and you've got loads of storage inside, and there's also a shoulder strap with it. So I'm going to steampunk it up. I've been asked for these for a while. I did some bags a while ago and they sold really quickly, so this is one of 3 that I'm going to make. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay, to start with, put those to one side. We'll do the leatherette. I've already made a template because I'm wise to trying to measure it on the bag itself, so I've got a template which is 99% accurate. Okay, it's 10% inaccurate, but on 99% it's pretty good going. So I've got my sticky, you've asked me about this a few times, people have the sticky roll. This is the sticky roll. I can't pick it up with one hand, it is so heavy. And it is double-sided tape on a roll, but it's double-sided tape with a vengeance. Literally, it takes your fingerprints off. So I'll just put that onto there. Trusty scalpel. This is thanks to my friend Andy and Kim for this. He got me a couple of, these are offcuts, believe it or not. There we go. Okay, so we've now got the adhesive on that side. I'll use the ruler, the flat edge of the ruler, just to burnish it down. Well, Bentley's here. It's very warm outside, so Bentley's come to see what's going on. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stick it on the other side. I'm going to put the, I'm going to stick the adhesive on the other side. Sorry for not being terribly clear there. So we have a sandwich, so the cardboard is in the middle of the sandwich. This will allow me to stick the leatherette to one side and then peel off the other side and stick it onto the bag, and it is not going anywhere at all. Oh, excuse me. There is, I think it's 500 metres on a roll, which is quite a lot. Okay, so this is the leatherette I've got. I'm using the red because of the red handle. I think it will work really well. I've got all different colours of the vinyl, but this is probably my favourite. This and the Doctor Who blue. I should say other colours are available. Right, there we are. Just stick that there. This is actually upholstery vinyl. Used in hospitals and care homes and that kind of thing. It's impervious to moisture, it doesn't go mouldy, it doesn't burn. It's absolutely brilliant stuff. It smells awful when it's on the roll. When it's on the device you can't smell it, but on the roll, on the sheet, it just smells very chemically, if that's the real word. Okay, so I've got my template. So with this, I'm just going to make sure I can get both of them out of the one sheet. I can. So I want to do the back as well, because I want to make it all match. So I'll just use my pen and go around ever so lightly on the edges. I don't want it to be too visible, because I don't want to see the pen lines. See, that's perfect. So, excuse head, I'll just trim this out. Bentley's decided to go back upstairs. It's all far too much for him today. So I think he's gone back to bed. There we go. And you see I've got the leatherette on top with the board adhesive and then the adhesive on the back. So it's just like a sandwich. And then trim this one. It's always better not to rush cutting this because it slides. The adhesive sheet has got a carrier film on it which is glossy to stop it sticking to it. And if you rush it, it slides and you'll end up either cutting your fingers or cutting off what you don't want to cut off. So I'll trim these two out and I shall be back to you in 2 shakes. Okay, so now we have the 2 panels. These panels are going to need finessing, I think, so they fit. Just some little bit shaving off, okay, a couple of little places. I think there's a high spot about there. So I'll just take a little bit off. I'm not going to go too mad with the trimming. So if I trim it and I trim too much off, I'm in a worse position than I am now. Let's have a look. There's a little bit of the underneath showing through, so what I'll do is I'll use the black ink pen, the Indian ink pen, and just mark, just colour that in, and then that will just push into there, I think. Still a little bit tight. A little bit tight at the top. As I say, cut very little off. I think we're nearly there. That's in. That's in. It's quite pliable as well, which is nice. Yeah, I think that'll be okay there. So that's one side. And the other side, don't want to sticky all over it, do we? There we go. And what I'll do is I'll paint behind there so you won't see that. A little bit off the end, not a lot, just a little bit. There we are. There's it. That's perfect. So just try, swap them round and see if it makes any difference. One may fit better than the other in one particular space. That fits beautifully in there. I think it's better the other way around, I think. So that comes out of there and goes there. And that one goes in there. Put it over there for a moment. Yeah, we've got all that. That's nice. That's a lovely fit. Okay. So what I need to do, if I go any further, is just rub the edges down. I'm not going to run my thumb down it, because I've done that before and cut all my thumbs, because this card is very, very sharp. With it being the mount board. There we are. Just make sure it's all just fastened on correctly. Offer it up again, just to make sure. Yeah. Okay, so got my black Indian ink pen. All I'm going to do is I'm going to go round the edges. A bit wobbly today. Oh, yeah. And this will just disguise all the edges. Doesn't go on the front, so you've got a good finish. Just put that over there. Let's get it all over my hand. When I'm making machines, I usually do this on the edges if it's a dark colour. If it's a light colour, I use the vintage photo distress ink from Tim. Because that works really, really well with a light colour. It gives you that vintage feel. The idea with this is just to disguise the edges of the vinyl. Stroke leatherette. I think leatherette sounds better than vinyl, doesn't it? The reason I don't, some of you have asked, why don't I use real leather? Well, a lot of people are against that kind of thing. But the reason I don't use leather is when you cut leather, with it being the skin, it goes really frayy and you get lots of little bits on the edges. Where with this, there are no fray bits at all. It's completely smooth, which is the look that I want. Because everything has to be perfect. I think you all know that already with me. Okay, so first of all, peel off the backing. You have to remember one thing and one thing with this, one thing only, is once it's on, and it will not come off again. And I mean not come off again. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to pop a tiny little bit of glossy accents on the edges. This allows me to give it a little bit of movement because the glossy accent slides. And it's not that this isn't, the glossy accent isn't to glue it, it's just to allow me time if I want to just shuffle it about a little bit to make sure it fits. Right, let's have a look. So now I've got a little bit of wiggle. Without the glossy accents, there would be no wiggle room on this at all. And it would be a nightmare. Right, just push it into the recess. Don't push too hard, don't put strain on the bag itself. But isn't it cool with the brass rivets? There we go. So there's the front. We'll do the back now as well. We need to touch up a little bit on the back, we do, don't we? So, black pen. And all I'm going to do is run it around the edge. All it's going to do is going to obscure any colour that's underneath. Just in case there's a little bit showing. There we go. It's actually Indian ink in these pens, so it is very, 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 very solid colour. Just offer that up. See, now you can't see anything through the gap. So we'll go through the same process again. Use the Sharpie. There These are Sharpie W10s. These are the very, very, very large ones. Ordinary Sharpies are alright, but with this you can just go over it with one and you're 99% covered. It's it's chemical based, so when it gets wet you're not going to get black coming off the handbag, stroke bag. One of my customers said to me, why don't you make your own bags, as in build them from scratch? I couldn't make this for the cost of the bag. It would take me ages. It's not what I do. I like to build and create. I appreciate, I mean, my friend Broad Arrow Mark, he makes the most beautiful, beautiful bags, and so does Phil. But that's not me, I'm not a leather worker. Somebody said, what are you? I said, a luminaire and a visionary. That's what Jules Verne used to call himself. Well, that's what they called him. Let's have a look, probably amongst many other things. There we go. Right, that's going in beautifully, that. Oh yeah, that's the side that you would have where your body is. And that's the outside with the brass rivets. Okay, next we have the MDF work. These were designed last week and I've had them cut. You have a baseboard plus a ring. I think you've seen those before. They were some that I had cut. They're actually like a beehive, but I'm using this as a grill to go on the front. So that will go on there, and that will go with the light behind it on there. Right, so I'm going to go and get some paint. So while I'm going to get some paint, get yourself a biscuit or another coffee, and I'll join you again in 2 shakes. Okay, so now is one of my favourite parts. I love the painting part of this. So I've got my paint. I'm using the Reeves acrylic copper. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the background copper, and I'm going to do that in brass. So when it's stuck on top, you'll get the difference in colours. I think that'll look really, really cool. I'm using a sponge dauber, one of the distress tools. I use these whenever I do my painting, because if you use a brush, you end up with brush marks in it and it loses all its credibility. But by using the sponge dauber, you can give it a texture, and when it dries, of course, it holds that texture, and it just looks like it could be slightly beaten metal or cast metal. I think whenever you see what I've made, or whenever people see what I've built at the shows, you can always tell it's mine because of my technique and my colour palettes. Sometimes I introduce reds and blues and greens, as I did for my octopus wearables, but I think this on top of the red is going to look absolutely stunning. So just a larger area. This is my old mat, or Mike's old mat. I get them when they're all a bit worse for wear, because I just get paint everywhere and I never clean up the mat. I just leave it to dry, or give it a wipe with a wet wipe, as it were. Yeah, more than I thought I need this morning. Need to get myself some more of this. It's brilliant paint. If you can get it in the States, it is unbelievable. It is very thick, very juicy, and it covers incredibly well. I usually only put 1 coat on what I make with this, with the MDF. It seems to cover without any gaps whatsoever, which is actually a pure godsend, because if you have to paint again and again and again, I think you lose that, what would I call it, spontaneity and the excitement of making. If it's become a chore, this isn't, because it's easy to do. Alright, let's have a look. I don't think I've missed anywhere. Can you see anywhere I've missed? No, I don't think I missed anywhere. Let's give it a little bit of bounce. And then this one is the ring that's going to go on top of the light that's going on there. So, oh, forgot, paint the inside first. Silly boy. I always do that. Paint the outside, then wonder why I can't paint the inside. Because it's still wet. If you do it this particular way, you can paint everything at once. There we go. And just around the edges. Beautiful. You see how it covers? It's covering so well on the black. I'm not painting within the holes, because with it being laser cut, they are black. So there's no point in trying to paint inside when they're 4mm across. You end up with more paint on the outside than you do on the inside, and it just looks a complete and utter dog's dinner. So, just give that a coat of that, or just enough. I do think I've done this before. There we go, and I'm just going to like that, so I can just use this scalpel just to hold it down, because what usually happens with me is I do it and then it takes off across the kitchen, invariably landing face down on the floor or on the carpet with the paint on the carpet. There we are. So that's the copper. I'm going to go and wash my brushes. I've actually bought some new metallic brass, vintage brass. I've not tried it before. Mike says Decorative are really, really good, and this is the extra sheen one. I believe by reading the back of the packet, the bottle, is when you finished it and it's dry, you can use a cloth and buff it up to a shine. Not sure about that, but I'll give it a good shake, go and wash these, and I'll be back in 2 ticks. Then I can paint my outer frame to match. Well, I've shook it up, I'm shaking it up. It does look quite creamy actually, does this paint. It doesn't run that much. But I think these would be better if they put a little ball bearing inside them. So when you shake, like when you shake an aerosol can, you can hear it jingling. It would mix the paint up much better. Just a thought. Okay, so I'm going to paint this in vintage brass. I've got a small brush. I apologise to Mike, look at the state of that. I left it in the water, didn't I? Oops. Oh, this could be nice paint. I've not used it before, as I say. Let's have a look. Just painting down the very narrow pieces. That way, because I can't get the sponge dauber down there. I thought the dog were whining then, and it's the French windows blowing in the wind. Duh. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, I think that's alright. Do the top bit. It should come into its own when I use a sponge dauber, to be honest with you. Brushes are alright, but I'm not a fan, as you know. There we go. I'm pleased with this. When I designed it, I did it out of cardboard to start with, and then cut it all out by hand and tried it, and it looked alright, I wasn't sure. And then I thought, you know, what the heck, just go with it. Okay, so, sponge dauber. I'm just going to use the edge of the dauber to get into the edges there. That's the front, that's the back. This is the back that I'm on now. I'm not painting the back, I'm just, oh, it disappears, does this paint, when you get it on the sponge dauber. Let's have a look. Oh yes, I think I quite like this. I like the colour. I don't think it's going to need 2 coats even. The bit that I've put on has just got absorbed straight away in the sponge dauber. There we are. Before I say anything, yes, I know it's a sponge, and sponge do absorb liquid. This is one of those times I'm grateful Mike's not here. He just pulled me up on it. And quite rightly so, to be honest. There we go. Yeah, I think this is nice. I think this is going to be a nice colour. Go around the inside of the circle. You're not really going to see it because the light fits in the middle of this, but if you can see a little bit of it, you can see the MDF, that's not what we want. It's the whole picture. The devil is in the detail. I'm not sure where that's come from. My dad used to say it when I was little. There we go. And with it being a warm day today, I think all this lot's going to dry really, really quickly. Do the inside first and then move on to the outside once I've done that. The copper that I've already done is partly dry. There we are. Just paint that one. I know it's a different angle you've viewed me from today. With me working in the kitchen on the table. So I need that little bit of extra room, and it's so dark in the garage. Plus it's full of rubbish at the moment from when I came back from the shows. The boxes I've got dumped and I've got projects I've started. I've got some exciting new bits to show you as well, which I'll do next week. Which, as you know, I never stand still. I'm always constantly making and moving, trying to move forward. Oh, shake it up. This antique brass is really rather nice. Sometimes it can look a little bit like cheap gold, if there is such a thing as cheap gold. I think you get my meaning. There we are. And then the outside, which will all be seen, so we need to put plenty on there. Shake it up again. It's actually all drying in real time today, so none of the we'll be back in 5 minutes when it's dry. It's just drying with the heat. It's been a lovely day. Mr. Bentley's currently sat out on the patio in front of the French windows from the kitchen, in the sunshine, on the cushions, mulling over what he's going to do today. I think it's quite an easy thing for him to mull over. He's going to sit in the sunshine and then eat his breakfast, and eat his lunch and eat his tea and go for a walk. So it's not a bad life, is it? So I've got all that painted apart from the fronts. It's a very, very nice colour. I'm very, very pleased with that. Right, I'm going to do the front now, so I want to make sure I've got plenty on. But give it a good shake, because all the goodness goes to the bottom of the bottle. Just hold it down and bounce it. Seems to darken when it starts to dry. So it looks quite a light gold colour here, glossy goldy colour, but it seems to darken a little bit to a, what would I call it? A greeny gold. I suppose that's what brass is, isn't it? Like a greeny gold colour. There we are. Just want it to look super good. That. There we are. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. That does look good. So we've got the base, the top ring, that'll need coat on that side of course. It's all nearly dry. And the top ring, which I've actually put glossy accents on, you'll be able to see the shine, I hope. And that goes on the top of there. So, I'm going to go wash my brushes, and then we're back in 2 ticks. So, all that's drying, I know I said it was drying in real time, but I was wrong. It's drying good. So, what I've done is I've brought in my thin and thick copper tapes. This is actually slug tape you put on plant pots, but works beautifully to wrap around things to steampunk them up. So I've got my thick copper one here, thick copper tape. This is, I think, what is it? It is half an inch wide. Brilliant. Of course, it's all self-adhesive. So I'll just take the end off of that, put that on that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this around the base of this light fitting. Just start it off there, rub it down with your nail. It's a very, very slippy fitting. It's feels almost like it's got a varnish on it, but it hasn't. There we go. What I'll do is I'll stick it on and then I'll rub it all down when I've finished. It will be easier that way. It says, I can't see the edge because it's a transparent container. And the postman's here now, which is exciting. What has he got for me today? Pass. Right, so just rub those down. Rub it down with my nail. Better to use your nail than anything hard because you can scratch it or rip it. It's not exactly very thick, but when it's stuck on, it isn't coming off again. There we are. Let's rub it down there. And also, if you get little creases in it, which by rubbing your nail down, you can eliminate them. It's quite forgiving that way. And then just round the top of your nail there, just to push it down. And there we have the base covered in the copper tape. Just looks like it's got a copper base on it now. That is actually going to sit into there. So you'll get all the reflection of all the holes in the copper tape. I've also brought the thin down. I'm not sure whether this is going to work or not. So we're on a bit on a limb here. Let's just find where the join is in the bottom one. I'm not sure whether this will bend because the other lights I had were completely parallel. These just come in a little bit, so I'm thinking it might not work. We'll give it a go. If it doesn't work, I can peel it off. But if it does work, I should be very pleased with myself. There we are. Just for decoration, that's all, but decoration is decoration. Quite like that. It's been rubbed down again by my finger. Oh yeah. And there's the join there. Hold it. There we are. Can we polish? Yes, we can. I can polish it down with my nail. It's not got enough. It's not got too many creases in it. I think if we went any further and got onto the other piece, which is further down here, it's got, I don't know whether you can see it, but it's got like little ridges in it, and I think that wouldn't have worked at all. So that is a result of the highest order. There we are. There we are. That's that done. So that's cool. So put that to one side. This is now dry. I need to paint the opposite side of that. So I'll just go and grab my paint. I'll be back in a minute. Sorry about this up and down, but if I was organised, I'd have everything sorted. But hey, I'm not that organised. Without Mike, it's just a fiasco, but don't tell him. Okay, so I've got a bit more of the copper paint just to paint the other side. The more legal-eyed of amongst you will have noticed that I did actually have this on the table, the sponge dauber, all clean, waiting to go. So it wasn't that bad. I just hadn't cleaned my enamel plate. Oh yeah, there we go. Just use the knife just to hold it down for a second. I know this is on the back and you won't see it, but I know it's there and I know it needs painting. Okay, so all the bits are painted now. We've got the tape on the light fitting itself. Just got to give 10 minutes for it all to set, and then we can start popping the handbag together, or the bag together. I shouldn't call it a handbag, but it's got a handle on it, so it's a handle bag, isn't it? So, everything is dry. There we go. That looks fan-dabby-dozy. That looks good, does that? The way though, I think. Yeah. Okay, so what I need to do now, I've got my favourite glue in the world, aka Glossy Accents. Although this is an old bottle, I've ordered some new bottles, but this one keeps blocking up for some reason. It's a little on the annoying side. Okay, so yeah, a little bit of Glossy Accents around the outside. Yeah. Someone's gone in. Just going to put the light on. That's better. Right. Okay, I'm just going to use my Glossy Accents onto that. It should. Just almost instantly, it has. I've not put too much on so it doesn't go all out of the sides. I don't want it to ooze out everywhere. It loses that believability if you can see the glue marks. There we are. Leave that to dry for a little bit now. Okay, so that's that. There we are. That's better. Yeah, just moved just a fraction. So I think I've got it on upside down. Luckily, Glossy Accents doesn't set instantly. Let's put a little bit more on. I hate it when the bottles are nearly out. There we go. That's it. Just need to put it back on exactly the same way around. This is the problem. There we are, that's it. Didn't line up properly with the corners. It's supposed to be symmetrical. But when I've made it, one of my corners is slightly out when I've been having it laser cut, so as a result it fits one way better than the other. I'd rather do it now than when I've built it and see that it looks odd. So there's the panel made up. It looks the bee's knees, does that. Okay, next I want to put on this ring onto the top of the light. However, the light is shiny, so with a little bit of sandpaper I'm just going around the very, very outside edge. So I don't want to be able to see any of the scratches, but this will help the Glossy Accents adhere to the plastic. Ah, perfect. Which side is the best one? I think they're both the same, those. Just wipe it on the shirt, there we are. Wipe that on there. I think I'm going to go for that being the front. So, I'm going to put a very small bead of Glossy Accents round the top. There we are. There we are. This is just to hold on the MDF ring. That's the top. So what I'm going to do is lay it down onto it, and I can see where I am. I'm using the holes that are in it as a guide to how much is covered. I just want to go back, because the holes are in the middle. Let's have a look. is that about it? I think that looks like it there. Okay, got a little bit of glossy accents just oozed out there. Off with the scalpel. Being careful not to scratch in front of the light. Oh yeah, so that is now in the middle there. Just got to put on the guard, and the guard just sits on top. Lovely, so just a little bit of glossy accents around there. And we'll leave these to dry for half an hour. I think it's nearly lunchtime for me, so I will. There's a buzzy bee in here as well, I think, by the sound of it. Was it a fly? Oh, it's a fly. Horrible creatures. So a little bit of glossy accents just around the outside. Oh yeah. Just to hold that onto there, and then just halfway tuck to make sure it's in the middle, which it is. Got a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit of glue comes through there. Just use my scalpel and scrape it off. And then there's just a small bit on the outside there. Scalpel, not too hard, just to take the bump off. And we'll leave that to set while I have a little bit of lunch. I'll be back, and for you, it's momentarily, for me, in about half an hour. Well, he's back from the shops.
Hello!
He's come back with all sorts of lovely goodies, so I don't
Yes.
mind. So what I'm going to do now, I've got my little flat back pearls. These are the 3mm ones. I'm going to put them just around the outside between the holes. So these will be like the fixing rivets. There we go. He's trying to walk quietly, but it doesn't work.
I'm going to plant the apple tree
Oh!
in the pot.
Oh,
I shall do a separate film for that.
okay. So we're like filming two at once here?
Yes, so you'll have to wait till the vlog on Thursday for that one.
Okay. Can I have a look at tree before Thursday? I think Bentley's going to come and help, so
It would help if I put my shoes on first, wouldn't it?
it would. So I've got the rivets in there, just going to put them in here. Without this picky up tool, this would be absolute nightmare. I've tried using a scalpel, just sticking it in the top of the rivets, but it's a little bit dicey and probably a bit dangerous too. Well, that's never stopped me before. And then put them around the other sides. So one, oops, sedated, that was a bit of a break, wasn't it? Let's try again. Oh, I've got air in it, I think. Yes, I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll just stand that up. Put it on the chair. I have put the top on it though. And there we are. 1, 2. Oh, it's all go in this garden today, I tell you. Like watching one of those professional gardening programs. But not. There we are. There we go. Last one on that side. And then on this side as well. They're also looking very decorative as well as being supposedly functional, because obviously these are supposed to be holding it all together, but it looks very, very decorative even with just the little rivets in it. Oh yeah. 1, 2, keep wetting the end of this sticky tool because all the self-adhesive at the end of it is dried up. Oh yeah, so that's that one. So what we need to do now is we need to get a little bit more on the backs of these dials. These are some of the small dials that I've got. These are just to give it a even more of a steampunk look. One in the bottom left. Make sure it's level. You alright, Mike?
You're covered in dust.
You're covered in dust, are you? Oh yeah. I'll just put that on there. I'll leave that to dry for 10 minutes. And I'll be back with you, ladies and gentlemen, presently. Well, I've now got it all stuck together, the front. I've got the bigger rivets around the outside there. I've just glued that into there so it's sticking out. Just need to put a little bit of glue behind this. I should just have to leave that for a minute to get its act together. This one works alright, so I'll use this one. And then I'm just going to put a bead. It did work alright. Oh, it does, there we are. This actually works better than using any other glue on this vinyl because the vinyl's got a grain to it. The glossy accents, keys to that. Just stand up a moment and just put this on. You do have quite a bit of wiggle room, but I'd rather not move it around too much. There we go. Push down. That looks like it's perfect. Let's have a look, just go on the edges. Alright, I'll leave that to set for a couple of minutes. Then I can show you it all complete on the bag and finished. If I tip it up it might fall off and that's not really what I want. And we are all complete. There we are. As you can see, it works beautifully on the front and we've got the red panel on the back. There are the keys for the bag. It also comes with a shoulder strap, which is just to the side. But I think it's brilliant and you've got all sorts in there. Can you, Mike?
You could.
Licorice all sorts. I'm making 3 of these. They're limited to 3, a 3 limited edition.
Presumably the light works.
Yeah, oh yes, I forgot, yes. Here's your remote control. We turn it on. And you can match it to any outfit. Oh, turn that there.
That's it.
That you're wearing. It doesn't flicker, it's the, I think it's the way the camera reacts to it. But you've got all the different colours to go through. You can brighten it and darken it. You can have it on flash. So all the different colours. It's a lovely colour. Or if you've got a particular outfit on that's green, you can pick the shade of green you want as well. So the handbag will match. I mean, look how. You'll get a better look in the photos at the end, I think, won't they, Mike?
Absolutely.
But that looks ace.
Looks very, very steampunk.
Or you can have it on. Go through all the different colours.
Very pretty.
Yeah. If you're interested, please drop me a line on my website. Say there is only 3 and we can talk about the cost and the shipping to wherever you live in the world. Changing the batteries is very easy. All you do is unscrew the front and the new batteries go in there. There are no wires inside the bag at all. The bag is just as it was before this makeover. So thank you for watching today. If you haven't subscribed to already, please click the link at the end of this video.
And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up.
A thumbs up. And thank you for watching in Kitchen Vision today. I'll be back up in the studio probably next week. That's all for today. Goodbye from Bentley, myself and Mike. See you again real soon.
Bye. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.